Toy Story is turning 30 years old this year, and is even being put back into theaters to celebrate. And while this franchise is full of childhood favorites, not every one of these movies are built equally. Some are good, and some are not so good. So let's take a look at the 5 feature-length Toy Story movies, and a couple of the shorts, and rank each of them on this tier list. And we're gonna start with Toy Story, the movie that not only began this franchise, but Pixar as a whole. And even now, 30 years later, I think it still mostly holds up. But let's talk about the aspect that holds up the least, the animation. Yeah, the animation hasn't aged all that well. The toys themselves look mostly fine. The character designs are iconic, and I like how each of the characters move based on what kind of toy they are. But the backgrounds, the animals, and very specifically the people all look very cursed. There's a very creepy, dead-eyed look to these creeps. Especially Sid, which I guess you could argue actually works because he's supposed to be a scary character. But despite the dated look of these human models, they're kinda better than how Pixar designs humans now. Most modern Pixar films have that Steven Universe bean mouth design that I and many other people are getting kind of tired of. I know people blame the marketing for Elio's failure, but I also think a lot of people saw the design for the main character and just said, nah.
I'm trying to get abducted by aliens.
The sheer comedic value of Toy Story is kinda astounding, because I think it's funnier than any other Toy Story film, and it may honestly be even funnier than any other Pixar film. Well, funnier than almost any other Pixar film. So many memes originated from this one single film, the jokes all work very well, and I think the actors deliver solid comedic performances.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
Let's talk about the characters of Toy Story, more specifically the side characters. We'll talk about Buzz and Woody in a bit. The original Toy Story does a solid job of fleshing out this toy world and filling it with fun characters. Rex, Ham, Slinky, Bo Peep, Sarge, and everyone else are all unique and incredibly memorable. But my personal favorite is, of course, Mr. Potato Head. Not only is he funny, not only is he voiced by Don Rickles, but as soon as he saw his moment, he led a revolt against the tyrant Woody. He saw a corrupt government leader and kicked him out of office. You gotta respect him for that. Potato Head for President 2028 or whatever. What is my favorite aspect of Toy Story is the concept. I know everyone jokes about Pixar movies. Oh, what if toys had emotions? Oh, what if monsters had emotions? Oh, what if cars had functioning digestive systems? But Toy Story graduated from the VeggieTales school of storytelling, where you use inanimate objects to tell a story and give a good message for kids. And that story is between the two main characters, Woody and Buzz Lightyear. The first Toy Story does a solid job at characterizing both Woody and Buzz, and presenting character arcs for both. Well, mostly Buzz. Woody is kinda poorly written at times.
Tell you, I could fly around this room with my eyes closed.
Okay then, Mr. Lightbeer.
Woody gets insanely jealous because Andy begins to love Buzz more than him, and so Woody enacts a scheme to knock Buzz behind the dresser, which I guess isn't technically murder, but if you push someone into a hole with the intention for them to never be found again, you kinda get the same result. But despite the jealousy, the criminal behavior, and the ugliness of Woody's character showing for most of the movie, he has a change of heart and realizes that Andy needs Buzz. He puts his selfish desires aside to help out a fellow toy. And Buzz has an even better story arc of finding purpose. When he finds out that he is just a toy and not the space ranger that he thought he was, brother was really going through it.
I am Mrs. Nesbit.
But Woody shows him another purpose, to be a toy, to be something that Andy needs. And so Buzz found a new mission. So both Woody and Buzz set aside their differences and even become friends. It's a very good depiction of friendship and seeing the other person's perspective. And it's a good moral for kids to see in a movie. All in all, Toy Story is still a very good film for people of all ages to enjoy. Woody's character is a bit unforgivable, the animation is rough, and the pacing gets funky towards the middle, but the character designs, the humor, and the message are all fantastic. So I'm gonna have to put Toy Story in A tier.
I look for the giant chicken! chicken jockey.
Toy Story 2. This may be a hot take, but I actually think Toy Story 2 is a vastly superior film than the first, and is maybe even the best movie of the entire franchise. Because for one, it builds upon the themes of the original story and really tests the main character. Woody's notions about being a child's toy and his purpose in life are seriously challenged here. After getting ripped, shelved, and stolen, Woody contemplates how much longer he can be a toy for Andy, fearing that another rip or another break could make Andy toss him.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Know your place, trash.
But he comes to realize that even though the time he will spend with Andy isn't infinite, it's still precious. And so he makes the decision to stay with his owner. It's a very well done character arc that not only challenges him, but further develops him as a character. And speaking of characters, there are a few new ones.
Or you can stay with us and last forever.
Woody's Roundup Gang are all iconic additions to the Toy Story world. Jessie is a very fun, hyperactive character, but she also has a lot of depth to her. She's carrying a lot of trauma, and her perspective on being a children's toy is paramount to Woody's character arc. And come on, the When Somebody Loved Me scene still feels like a knife to the gut. It's just depressing. Bullseye is an adorable side character. Does it make sense that the horse is like a dog, but the dog is like a person? No. But then again, Brian from Family Guy is like a dude, but a bunch of other dogs are normal dogs, so it's a cartoon, who cares?
Yeah?
And then there's the main villain, Stinky Pete. In terms of Pixar villains, the Prospector is solid, his motivations are clear and make sense, he's tired of always being the toy no one wants, and now he gets his chance for the spotlight, but Woody is taking it away. And as a twist villain, I think he works. We see him attempt to manipulate Woody over the course of the film by slowly pushing him towards the museum, and so his full turn to villain doesn't feel like it's coming out of nowhere. As soon as it happens, it makes perfect sense. He's reasonably threatening, and I think Kelsey Grammer delivers a solid vocal performance. Also, do you remember how old Pixar films used to have a blooper reel during the credits? Do you remember the scene where Stinky Pete offers a couple Barbies roles in Toy Story 3? If they did something for him, probably something that they can't mention in a children's movie. I promise, I did not make this up.
You know, I'm sure I could get you a part in Toy Story 3. I'm sorry, are we back?
An absolutely insane thing to sneak into a children's movie. And there was one Barbie in Toy Story 3, so we know how she got that part. Let's talk about the animation for a second, because I think it's vastly improved over the original film. The human models look better, the environments look sharper, and the lighting is absolutely gorgeous. But also, Toy Story 2 has actual action scenes, and they're all peak. The opening video game sequence with Buzz Lightyear is cheesy, fun, and full of Star Wars Easter eggs. The fight between Buzz and Zurg is intense, has reasonably high stakes, and a pretty funny ending.
I finally defeated Zurg!
Father.
And the ending chase where Jessie is stuck on that plane and Woody has to rescue her is so exciting. I mean, you gotta love when Woody hits that
Ride like the wind, Bullseye!
and then Randy Newman is just blasting the Woody's Roundup music. It's incredible. What can I say? But still, my favorite part of Toy Story 2 has to be the side plot with the other toys. All the toys going on this adventure to save Woody is so much fun and has so many great moments. Like them crossing the road or meeting the other Buzz, or them all climbing the elevator. And you can't forget.
Use your head.
All in all, Toy Story 2 is the best Toy Story film. It understands the characters, it has beautiful animation, and it's fun and entertaining. It's what a Toy Story film should be. So, it's going in S tier. Toy Story 3. This is the original conclusion to the Toy Story saga, and boy, is it a real whopper of an ending. Let's talk about the story, because compared to every other Toy Story film, this by far has the most stakes because it shows the absolute worst things that could happen to toys. Andy grows up, and now the toys are unneeded. They wind up in a daycare where they suffer through actual dictatorship, and the toys see what happens when they get thrown away. This is by far the darkest a Toy Story film has been. In no other entry in this franchise do the characters risk internal imprisonment or end by fire. An aspect of the plot that I think works incredibly well is Sunnyside. Including a prison break segment in a Toy Story story is so much fun. The way in which they get out is very creative and uses each toy's unique abilities well. The Spanish Buzz is hilarious. And there's of course Mr. Cucumber Head. Boy, doesn't he just look tasty. And you know what else looks tasty? The sponsor of today's video, HelloFresh. Unlike this old, stale potato, HelloFresh meals are delivered fresh and pre-portioned, ready to make dinner time easier. Like this honey sriracha pork meal that I'm gonna make. Also, could you watch this guy for me? I'm convinced he might be alive. I use HelloFresh and you should too, because if you're anything like me, you hate the phrase, "What do you want for dinner?" It's a genuinely painful process to get my family to agree on what to eat for dinner every night. But HelloFresh makes things simpler, offering a variety of meals that are simple to make, even if you're a cook who lacks some experience. And if you're short on time, HelloFresh has you covered there, as many of their meals take as little as 15 to 20 minutes to prepare. Take advantage of the new HelloFresh by using my code AnotherNickFM at HelloFresh.com for 10 free meals plus free breakfast for life. So click the link below or use my code AnotherNickFM at HelloFresh.com. Sign up today and you can enjoy a delicious meal like this. Ah, dang it, I forgot a fork. Oh, I saw you move. You're done, buddy. Thank you so much to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Now back to the rankings. While the plot is entertaining, it's elevated by a couple things: the main villain and the emotion. Lotso Huggin' Bear is a pretty solid villain. He is another twist villain like Stinky Pete, so in that way he's not as memorable or original, but his backstory is tragic and good at building out his worldview and how he became so sinister. He grew a disdain for toys with good owners, and uses his time at Sunnyside to punish them, going so far as to let the toys fall into the furnace at the end of the movie. He's gross, he's evil, he's despicable, and he gets what he deserves. He becomes a grill ornament for the rest of his life.
And scammer gets scam buddy.
It's no secret that Toy Story 3 really hits you in the feels, because it gives our main characters a fantastic character arc. Andy is growing up and going to college, but Woody is remaining firm that they need to stay his toys, even if they all wind up in the attic. They need to be there for Andy when Andy needs them. But as the film progresses, Woody, and by extension the other toys, come to the conclusion that Andy doesn't need them anymore. They were great pals while it lasted, but like with all kids, it's time to grow up. And Woody manipulating Andy into taking the toys to Bonnie's house is the perfect demonstration of his character growth. He's letting go of Andy, of his best friend, and accepting the fact that he's going to be okay with Buzz, Jessie, and the other toys and their new owner Bonnie. This whole film is about growing up, moving on, and accepting your new stage of life, which is a timeless moral that I, and I'm sure many other people, really resonate with. I was a kid when this movie first came out, so I didn't really feel it then, but I'm an adult now, and boy howdy does it just. On the subject of this movie being sad, I would go as far as to say that this is straight up emotional manipulation. They drag that scene out where Andy says goodbye. He pulls out all the toys one by one, he physically hands Woody over to Bonnie, and plays with all of them one last time. And then Andy drives away and Woody says the "so long, partner." Aw, man. And the other aspects of Toy Story 3 hold up well. The animation is beautiful across the board. I like how all the main characters get moments to shine. I enjoy the newer characters like Ken and Bonnie's toys, and the pacing is solid across the board. All in all, Toy Story 3 is a fantastic end to the Toy Story saga, or at least it would have been. Great story, great animation, very entertaining, and tons of emotional impact. And it's the end of Pixar's golden era, where they released almost nothing but bangers between Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3. So even though I don't enjoy it quite as much as Toy Story 2, it's also gonna go in S tier.
Boo! It's a job application.
Next is the first of two shorts in this ranking, Toy Story of Terror. Now, there are many shorts outside of Toy Story of Terror and Toy Story That Time Forgot, but I'm only covering these two shorts because they're both in that 20-minute mark, and every other short is much shorter. Toy Story of Terror is a Halloween special, and it's pretty solid. Bonnie and the toys are on a road trip where they pop a tire and have to stay at this capital M motel. The toys investigate this environment, but are then taken out one by an unseen entity. Once Jessie is the only one left, she's then found by the Beast, which is a lizard. And the lizard takes Jessie to the manager's office, where it's revealed that the manager steals toys to sell them on eBay. This is a pretty solid tale for a short, and it's elevated by the main character's character arc. That's right, the main character of Toy Story of Terror is Jessie. We follow her throughout most of the movie and see her deal with her fear of small spaces. She went through a lot of trauma during Toy Story 2, and now it's coming back here again. And she has this character arc of facing her fears and finding more confidence in herself by braving tight spaces in order to save Woody. Because as soon as Woody wound up in the manager's hands, he sold on eBay for like $2,000 bucks. And I know, I just know that chicken suit wearing, Cheeto eating, money grubbing, mother clucker Al from Al's Toy Barn is the one who bought Woody. Ever since Toy Story 2, that man has been on eBay searching for his beloved Woody doll, just waiting for the day where they could be reunited once again.
Pass. 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 Smash.
I like the spookiness aspect of this movie. It's a stormy night, there's a creepy atmosphere. It does lose that spooky atmosphere when the manager is revealed to be the villain, but even so, the short still has tension here. We get the inclusion of new toys like Combat Carl, voiced by Carl Weathers, rest in peace. He's a fun character who motivates Jesse, and Carl Weathers is a generational casting. We also get what I believe is the first instance of Legos in a Toy Story movie, so that's cool. For as cool as this short is, I do have a couple problems with it though. The humor didn't work for me personally. It made a bunch of attempts, but I never really laughed at all. And a bigger issue is that during the climax of the movie, Jessie needs Woody to open the cabinet to free the toys, but Woody's in the box that was taken to the truck. So she has to open another box, hide inside, brave her fears, and get on the truck so she can free Woody. But the issue is that when she opens another box, this Voltron looking dude comes out and he does nothing. Why not just have him open the cabinet? That way all the toys can work together to free Woody. I get it, they wanted to conclude Jessie's story, but that's an issue at the end of the movie that just really stood out to me. But still, Toy Story Terror is a very good Toy Story short, full of spookiness, fun, and good character growth. So I'm gonna put it in B tier.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
Toy Story That Time Forgot. This short is the Toy Story Christmas short. Except not really. It uses Christmas purely as a setting and doesn't feature any Christmas ideas or themes, which was kinda disappointing, especially when other big franchises like How to Train Your Dragon did. But nonetheless, Toy Story That Time Forgot is about Bonnie having a play date after Christmas. She plays with this absolute gamer named Mason, and both of the kids ignore the toys to play GTA 6 or whatever this is. So Woody and the gang go to meet the new toys that Mason got and are met with the Battle Sores, dinosaur warriors who, unbeknownst to our main group, have captured all of Mason's other toys and either makes them fight to the death or forces them into the pit, which is just an AC fan.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
It's an absolutely bonkers story that has some problems. My biggest issue with the short is its main character, Trixie. Maybe this is just because she's a newer toy that wasn't in the two movies that were from my childhood, but I don't care about her at all. I just find her incredibly boring. She does have this character arc of, I guess, coming to appreciate her lot in life. In the beginning, she's frustrated because she's a dinosaur, but Bonnie never plays with her as a dinosaur. She's always a reindeer, or a doctor,
or a Ford F-150. With being a man and driving a truck are one and the same.
But after dealing with the battle sores, she grows an appreciation for being whatever it is that Bonnie needs. It's a fine character arc, but again, the character means nothing to me.
Ah! Good God! It's hideous.
The Dino Warriors are cool though. They are very similar to Buzz in the first movie where they don't know that they're toys and have to figure that out. And I know I already mentioned it, but it is insane that because they don't know that they're toys, they immediately jump to gladiator fights and sacrificial. And because of YouTube's new AI restricting videos, I had to censor out all the things that I just said. Which, by the way, make sure you have restricted mode set to off so you don't miss any videos from me or from any of your other favorite creators. There are some newer characters I like Reptilius Maximus, and this ornament character who just says cryptic things and somberly plays a trumpet on the way to her demise.
Limitations are the shackles we bind to ourselves.
All in all, this is an okay short film. It's a fun enough story with some new elements for a Toy Story film, but I don't vibe with the main character, the atmosphere, and the reused story elements. So I'm gonna have to put Toy Story That Time Forgot in C tier.
That's my character. I'm the trash man.
Toy Story 4. This is a very controversial film in this series. Some people argue it shouldn't exist, some people call it a masterpiece, but I'm somewhere in the middle. I think this film deserves to exist if only because of how well written Woody's story is. This really is the perfect way to end Woody's journey. Throughout the film, Woody is living in the past, thinking about his time with Andy and trying to apply that knowledge and experience he gained with him to Bonnie. But it's not really working because Bonnie doesn't really like Woody, and she doesn't doesn't need him. So Woody feels empty inside. He spends the whole movie trying to save Forky because he's the most important toy in Bonnie's life, and he does this without any regard to his own well-being because Woody has nothing else. But after reconnecting with Bo Peep and rekindling that romance, Woody discovers a new purpose for a toy, and so he accepts this new phase of life and stays with Bo Peep and departs from Bonnie, the other toys, and even Buzz Lightyear. It's a very emotional scene and an overall very impactful story arc, and it's also a mature way to end Woody as a character in the Toy Story franchise. Toy Story 3 may have been the overall better ending to the series, but Toy Story 4 is just as personal. I'm just glad the series is over. I mean, there's for sure no way they could possibly milk it for any more. Oh, come on! But Toy Story 4 introduces a bunch of new characters, and this is a whole mixed bag. Yep, we're getting into the parts of Toy Story 4 that don't really work. Buckle up. Let's start with the characters I think are good and actually add to the story, like Ducky and Bunny. These are some of the funniest characters of the franchise. Not only because they're voiced by Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele, but they also get Family Guy style cutaway gags, and that's just incredible. Duke Kaboom is pretty epic, another great vocal performance by Keanu Reeves, and I like his own personal character arc of getting past his trauma and doing that huge jump. Now it's time for a hot take. I don't like Forky. I don't mind the concept of the character, but he feels like a corporate product to me. The freaking suits at the Walt Disney Company cook this up in the labs thinking it'll sell like hotcakes. And the character's story is just as boring as his overall design. Toy Story 4 was better when Forky wasn't here. And the main antagonist, Gabby Gabby, also kinda sucks. There's been a trend with Disney films of the sympathetic villain, and that trend really hurts Gabby Gabby. She could have been this effective, scary villain who's trying to steal Woody's voice box, but no. She's never allowed to be truly scary or intimidating like Sid or Stinky Pete or Lotso. Because she's a sympathetic villain, she winds up boring, forgettable, and downright lame. But I haven't mentioned what is absolutely the worst part of Toy Story 4 yet, and that has to be whatever the heck they did to Buzz Lightyear in this movie. God help me. They have truly massacred my boy here. That hidden voice thing where Buzz pushes his buttons and listens to his quote-unquote hidden voice is awful. Buzz was never an idiot. He was a leader and intelligent. We see this both in Toy Story 2 and 3. But here, he's a floundering mess of a man with no reasonable thought at all. I mean, the character assassination is just astounding. What did they do? But still, despite my complaints, I don't completely hate Toy Story 4. It was a solid ending to the series, it presented a good character arc for one of its main characters, and it has great music, animation, and voice acting. So because of all those positives, it has to go in B tier. Lightyear is a movie I have avoided watching for the longest time. Ever since I first saw the trailer, I recognized it for the soulless Disney slop that it most likely was. And I wasn't at all surprised by the negative reception it received, nor its box office performance. But now that I actually made myself sit down to watch it, man, it might honestly be worse than I thought. Apart from the animation that is genuinely stunning at times, I don't think there's a single redeeming quality. Buzz Lightyear nearly has a decent story, one where he redeems his past mistakes, but that whole bit hinges on something that honestly wasn't a mistake. And the ultimate lesson that he learned is that he should trust inexperienced people and clankers more, which is a really stupid character story because it's not like Buzz is biased against them. Inexperienced people and clankers make many mistakes throughout the entire movie, and honestly, they shouldn't really be trusted that much. And of course, the more inexperienced characters can grow and learn and become better at whatever job they're doing, but that's not really what the story is saying. The movie is saying that you should always rely on them for seemingly no reason. And don't get me started on the side characters. I'd call them forgettable, but I'm just coping because I wish I could forget about how genuinely annoying and grating they are. I kinda hate Thor Ragnarok for making Taika Waititi a popular star. He's absolutely the most annoying, least funny aspect of any project he works on. And I despise his stupid character with the stupid pen and the stupid inside-out sandwiches. Please, someone, Lobotomize me. I don't think Chris Evans is particularly bad as Buzz. I know some people threw a fit when they cast him instead of Tim Allen, but given the context of Lightyear, how it's a movie in the Toy Story universe that the Buzz Lightyear action figure is based on, it makes sense for Buzz to be someone else. But something that doesn't make sense is Zurg. How did they get Zurg wrong? In Toy Story 2, we find out that Zurg is Buzz's father, not an older version of Buzz from a different timeline. They even make a joke about it in the movie.
You look good, Buzz. Dad?
Which, hard, yeah, that's real funny, but no. If you're gonna make a movie that has the same lore of the previous movies, you can't just change things and hope that people won't notice. And you could say that Toy Zurg was just lying, but why would he lie? He thinks he's the actual Emperor Zurg and that Buzz is the actual Buzz. So clearly he thinks he's his father for a reason. Why am I getting so worked up about the lore of the freaking Toy Story movies? I need to calm down. What else did I miss? The pacing is trash. The constant callbacks to Toy Story 1 make me wish I was watching that movie instead. I hate the annoying clinker cat. Oh, and Buzz's chin looks weird. That's not a criticism, that's just something I noticed. Brother was looking like the Crimson Chin. What is there left to say about Lightyear? It's a thoroughly awful movie and an embarrassing way to finish a once great franchise. Lightyear is going in D tier, and that's the ranking. Despite the newer films lacking in quality compared to the original trilogy, I'm still a pretty big Toy Story fan. And I think after 30 years, the original movie still holds up. It's still one of the best Pixar films. But seriously, Pixar stopped making Toy Story movies. It's over. There is no story left to tell. But how would you rank the Toy Story movies? Let me know down in the comments. And if you want to check out some other videos, you can right here.